The trouble began shortly after Ethan proposed. His parents, Linda and Tom, had initially seemed supportive, even offering a generous $15,000 contribution toward the wedding expenses. Sarah, coming from a modest background, appreciated the gesture, but insisted on covering most of the costs herself. She and Ethan agreed that she would also purchase a $40,000 car as their joint wedding gift, a symbol of their new life together. Everything seemed perfect, or so Sarah thought. A few days after the engagement, as Sarah was finalizing the car purchase, her phone rang. The voice on the other end was stern. "Miss Sarah Thompson, this is Officer Daniels. We've received a complaint alleging financial misconduct involving a wedding fund. Please come to the police station immediately." Sarah's heart sank. The amount in question? Exactly $15,000, the same sum Ethan's parents had given her. Confused, Sarah glanced at Ethan, who was sitting across from her at the dealership. His face paled, and he quickly muttered, "It's probably a mistake. Let me handle it." But his nervous tone and the way he avoided her gaze set off alarm bells. Ignoring his protests, Sarah followed him outside and overheard him whispering into his phone, "Mom, we said we'd wait until after the car was bought. If she suspects anything now, it's over." His words hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. Something was terribly wrong. Determined to protect herself, Sarah returned to the dealership and signed the car contract, alone. She paid the full amount from her savings and deliberately left Ethan's name off the title. If he was involved in whatever scheme his family was plotting, she wasn't going to let him walk away with her hard-earned money. When Ethan returned, he was all smiles, oblivious to her suspicions. "Babe, you got the car? This is amazing," he said, reaching for the contract. Sarah deflected, keeping her tone light. "Let's check out the car first. The paperwork can wait." Later, as they drove away from the dealership, Sarah casually asked about the call. Ethan's smile faltered. "Oh, it's nothing, just a mix-up. My parents probably misunderstood something." His evasiveness only deepened her unease. Without hesitation, Sarah turned the car toward the police station, determined to get answers. At the station, chaos greeted her. Linda was in the lobby, her voice echoing off the walls as she berated an exhausted-looking officer. "This is outrageous! That girl took our $15,000, our life savings. Who spends that much on a wedding? It's fraud, I tell you." Tom stood beside her, nodding vigorously. When Linda spotted Sarah, her eyes narrowed. "There she is. Make her give our money back." Sarah's mind reeled. Just days ago, Ethan's parents had sat across from her, smiling as they handed over the wedding contribution. Now they were accusing her of theft? The officer approached, his tone calm but firm. "Miss Thompson, the Millers claim you misused a $15,000 wedding fund. Can you clarify the situation?" Sarah took a deep breath, forcing herself to stay composed. "Officer, that money was a gift for our wedding. We discussed it with Ethan's parents last week, and they agreed to contribute. I have the messages to prove it." She turned to Ethan, hoping for support, but he avoided her gaze, mumbling, "Look, my parents just think $15,000 is too much right now. Maybe we can scale back the wedding." His words stung. Sarah had spent years building a relationship with Ethan, trusting his promises of loyalty. They'd been together for 2 years, and while he wasn't perfect, his small gestures, bringing her coffee on tough days, driving her home in the rain, had convinced her he was the one. But now, standing in the police station, she saw a different side of him. Was he complicit in his parents' scheme? Linda, sensing an opportunity, chimed in. "If you're so reasonable, Sarah, you'll refund the money. And once you're married, you'd better take care of Ethan. We expect grandchildren soon, too." Her audacity was almost laughable, but Sarah's patience snapped. She let out a sharp laugh. "Married? You think I'm still marrying into this circus?" Without another word, Sarah signed an agreement to return the $15,000, eager to wash her hands of the situation. Linda's smug expression faltered as Sarah added, "But don't worry, I'll make sure everyone knows about this refund. I'm throwing a party to celebrate." Linda's face reddened. But before she could protest, Sarah walked out, her mind already racing with a plan. That evening, Sarah organized what she called the Great Wedding Fund Return Bash. She rented a local venue, hired a DJ, and invited friends, family, and even a few curious acquaintances. On a makeshift stage, she grabbed a microphone and addressed the crowd with a grin. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we celebrate a historic moment. Ethan's family, after gifting $15,000 for our wedding, decided it was too much and demanded it back, at the police station no less. So let's give them a round of applause for their generosity." The crowd erupted in laughter, and whispers spread like wildfire. Ethan and Linda, who had reluctantly attended, shrank in their seats, their faces burning with embarrassment. But Sarah wasn't done. As the night progressed, a large screen lit up with a video montage she'd prepared. It showed text messages from Linda promising the $15,000, followed by clips of her at the police station, accusing Sarah of fraud. The final frame displayed a mock headline: "Family demands wedding refund, regrets it instantly." By morning, the event was the talk of the town. Social media buzzed with hashtags like #WeddingRefund, Fiasco, and #Ethan, the Gold Digger. Ethan's family became a local punchline, their antics dissected in group chats and coffee shops. Sarah, meanwhile, felt a mix of relief and vindication. She'd exposed their greed without sinking to their level. But Ethan wasn't ready to let go. A week later, as Sarah was settling into her new routine, he posted a lengthy rant online titled, "The Truth About Sarah Thompson." In it, he claimed she'd been a freeloader during their relationship, listing every shared expense, down to $1 smoothies and $3 bus fares, totaling $2,000 over 2 years. "I supported her for years, and this is how she repays me," he wrote, painting himself as a victim. Sarah couldn't believe her eyes. Ethan, who'd never paid for anything significant, was calling her a gold digger. She scrolled through his post, laughing at the absurdity. A $10 pizza split evenly was listed as her expense. A jacket he'd bought for himself was somehow her fault because she'd complimented it. The comments, however, were brutal. $2,000 in 2 years? That's $3 a day. What gold is she digging? One user wrote. Another added, "This guy's out here charging his girlfriend for breathing." Determined to set the record straight, Sarah crafted her own post, Ethan's Sugar Baby Diaries, a true story. She meticulously listed her contributions to their relationship: $5,000 on gifts for his family, $2,000 on concert tickets for his birthday, countless dinners she'd covered. Her total? Nearly $20,000. "If anyone's digging for gold, it's not me," she wrote, attaching receipts for every claim. The internet exploded. Ethan's post backfired spectacularly, and his reputation took a nosedive. Commenters dubbed him Penny Pincher Ethan, and memes of his $1 smoothie receipts went viral. His employer, embarrassed by the publicity, let him go, citing conduct unbecoming. Ethan's dreams of turning the narrative around crumbled overnight. Desperate, Ethan bombarded Sarah with texts. "You've ruined my life. I lost my job because of you. Can't we just move on?" Sarah ignored him, but his persistence escalated. One morning, he showed up at her workplace, causing a scene. "Sarah, I paid back the $15,000. Doesn't that mean we're good? You're still marrying me, right?" Sarah's colleagues stared, dumbfounded, as she calmly approached him. "Ethan, that money was yours to return because you lied. As for marriage, I'd rather marry my car." With a flourish, she pulled out the car title, registered solely in her name, and waved it in his face. "Oh, and this, all mine, paid in full." Linda and Tom, who'd tagged along, launched into theatrics. "Our poor boy," Linda wailed, clutching her chest. "You've destroyed him, Sarah. He'll never recover." They threatened to stay until Sarah made things right, even hinting at demanding compensation for Ethan's emotional distress. Sarah saw her chance. Pretending to cave, she sighed dramatically. "Fine, I'll give you what I can. I have $100,000 in savings. Will that do?" Linda's eyes gleamed with greed, and she nodded eagerly. "That's a start," she said, oblivious to Sarah's trap. Sarah drafted a contract stating the $100,000 was a settlement to ensure Ethan's family would never contact her again. Linda and Tom signed without hesitation, their signatures bold and confident. Ethan, wary, tried to object, but Linda shushed him. "It's money, Ethan. Don't ruin this. The moment they left with the check, Sarah called the police. "I'd like to report an extortion attempt," she said, presenting the signed contract as evidence. The officers, already familiar with Ethan's family from the wedding fund debacle, acted swiftly. Within hours, the Millers were summoned to the station, where they learned the contract was a clear admission of blackmail. In court, the evidence was undeniable. Ethan, deemed the instigator, received a 3-year sentence for attempted extortion. Linda and Tom, as accomplices, each got 2 years. The $100,000 check was voided, and Sarah emerged unscathed, her savings intact. With the ordeal behind her, Sarah moved to a new city, eager for a fresh start. She channeled her experience into a blog series, Lessons from a Broken Engagement, which gained a modest following online. Her message was simple: trust your instincts and never settle for less than you deserve. As for Ethan's family, they faded into obscurity, their names synonymous with greed and folly. Sarah, meanwhile, drove her car into a new chapter, free from the weight of a love that was never what it seemed.
If Sarah's story of taking control and outsmarting the drama had you cheering or even shaking your head, give this video a big thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next wild tale of love, betrayal, or epic comebacks. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever dealt with a tricky family situation like Sarah did? Or maybe you've got a story about standing up for yourself when the odds were stacked against you. Drop it below. Let's get the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.